So today I'm talking about what would make a clunky noise when you step on the gas pedal or when you go to accelerate inside of a car or truck, some of the common causes of this, and I'm going to put links down below for everything I'm looking at here. But number one is going to be a broken motor mount. And this is very common that a motor mount has gone bad, and the motor mounts, they bolt the engine to the frame so that it can't move. And if one of these becomes broken or damaged, then the engine can move about, and this can cause a clunky noise. And a common way that you could tell if it's a broken motor mount is that you could have two people, one person inside the car, and they put it in gear with the brake on, and they just step on the gas pedal a little bit. It won't take much. And the other person watches the engine. And if the engine moves like 2 or 3 inches upward or anything like this, then you know there's a problem and you want to examine those motor mounts. But number one is going to be a broken motor mount. And number two is going to be the transmission mount, which is basically like the motor mounts, but it's on the transmission. Depending on the vehicle, they could be a little different, but you want to examine the transmission mount and be sure that it's good. Otherwise, like the motor mounts, it can cause a problem. And next up is going to be a failing CV axle. If you have a front-wheel drive vehicle with CV axles, then these can cause problems. There's joints inside there that can go bad, and if they do, they could cause a clunky noise. And one way you could tell if it's a CV axle is that you jack up the front tire one at a time, and you could turn the wheel, and you can listen and see if there's a clunky noise, and that's a common way you could tell if that's the problem. And if it is clunking, then you'll have to replace that CV axle that's causing the issue. And next up is going to be a bad U-joint for vehicles that are rear-wheel drive. There'll be U-joints, and these can cause an issue and a clunking noise. When you go to put it in gear, you'll hear a clunk. You go to put it in reverse, you could hear a clunk again. And there's different ways you could test if it's a bad U-joint. Quite often there's a vibration when you're driving. And if you could put blocks underneath the tires so the car doesn't move and put it in neutral, you could go and try to move the drive line, and you'll be able to see it when it clunks, if that is the issue. But number 4 is going to be a bad U-joint. And next up is going to be a transmission failure. And a transmission can cause noises, including clunking sounds, if they go bad. If a transmission does go bad, though, then you usually have other symptoms, like you won't be able to shift correctly, or the transmission won't be shifting right, or something like this. The dashboard light might come on saying something about a transmission failure, something along these lines. So if your transmission is not shifting correctly, and it sounds like it's coming from there, then it could be it. But number 5 is going to be transmission failure. And next up is going to be damaged or worn shocks. And this is fairly common, that one of the shocks is just worn, or it got damaged by some kind of road debris or something like this, but one of the bolts might have come loose or damaged or anything along these lines. And so you could go around and you can examine each one of these shocks and just see if there's any loose components, and you could try to move them a little bit and see if any noises are coming from each one. But number 6 is going to be damaged or worn shock. And next up is going to be a damaged leaf spring. Some vehicles won't have leaf springs, but many do. And if something comes up underneath and hits them, or if they become corroded or anything like this, they can become damaged, or they can become cracked or things like this. And so you could go around and examine them and be sure that they look good and all the bolts look good and everything. There's not too much corrosion going on or anything broken loose. But number 7 is damaged leaf spring. And last is just going to be a loose bolt or component on the frame. So you could just go along the frame and just look at things like the tie rods, the sway bar, or just different components like this, and just check them out really closely and be sure that they look like everything's bolted in good and there's nothing loose. There's no loose bolts. There's no broken components or anything like this, because any loose or broken components could cause an issue. And so that's basically it. I just wanted to go over what some of the causes can be when a vehicle makes a clunky noise and you're accelerating and you're pressing on the gas pedal. Like I said, I'll put links down below for everything I'm looking at. If you have anything to add, please comment down below. If you have any questions, ask me and I'll try to answer them. If this video helps you, please click like, please click subscribe, and have a good day.